Now we are going to study the details about the antibodies. The abbreviation for antibodies is Ig, capital I, small g, Ig. Why we have to give the abbreviation Ig? So the antibodies are also called immunoglobulins. Now in this immunoglobulin, the terminology, we are taking abbreviation I for immuno I, globulin G, first letter here we are taking. So that we are calling this, we are giving abbreviation for this as Ig. Antibodies, immunoglobulins, both are same. Now why should we give the name to this as immunoglobulin? Globulin is a special protein which is useful for the development of immunity. So we are calling this a special protein as immunoglobulin. So antibodies are proteins, special proteins. Antibodies are special proteins. They are called immunoglobulins. There are 5 types of antibodies, or we can say there are 5 types of immunoglobulins. What are they? First one is IgG. Ig is immunoglobulin. In that one variety is called G. The G stands for gamma. So it is the gamma immunoglobulin. We can say gamma immunoglobulin. The second type is IgM. It is within bracket. M stands for mu, micron. We are also calling it as micron. Micron means very, very small molecule. So it is the micron immunoglobulin or mu immunoglobulin. The third type is IgA. A stands for alpha. So alpha immunoglobulin. The fourth one is IgD. D stands for delta. Delta immunoglobulin. And the last one, fifth one is IgE. E stands for epsilon. Epsilon immunoglobulin. These are the 5 different types of immunoglobulin or special proteins. They are present in our body. Whenever the antibodies are to be produced, these immunoglobulins are converted into various types of antibodies, and the antibodies are giving us immunity, resistance. Now we are going to see a molecular structure of one immunoglobulin. Commonly we have to study. This is the structural organization of one immunoglobulin molecule or antibody molecule. Now this antibody molecule structure was designed by 2 scientists. They were co-workers in the research. They were Porter and Edelman. Porter and Edelman. So we are calling this model of immunoglobulin as Porter and Edelman model of antibody or immunoglobulin. Now this immunoglobulin molecule is having 4 polypeptide chains. Now first we have to know what is the meaning of polypeptide chain. In lower class, maybe in 10th standard or 11th standard, you might have studied about proteins are made up of simplest molecules called the amino acids. Now the amino acids, for example, I am giving simple diagrammatic representation. Each circle is one type of amino acid. Lot of amino acid types are there. Now these are all the amino acids. These amino acids are connected by one bond, a chemical bond. Each chemical bond is called a peptide bond. So like that, lot of amino acids are arranged in the form of a long chain. One chain may be having a few amino acids. I have drawn only 6 or 7 or 8. Sometimes the chain may have hundreds of amino acids or thousands of amino acids in one long chain. So this is a long chain of amino acids connected by many peptide bonds we can call as polypeptide chain. Poly means many, peptide means peptide bond. Many peptide chains are present. This long chain we can call as polypeptide chain. So in the immunoglobulin molecule or one antibody molecule, there are 4 chains like this. There are 4 chains. There are 4 polypeptide chains. Out of the 4 polypeptide chains, 2 polypeptide chains are very, very longer. Diagrammatically, we are representing them here like this. So this is one long polypeptide chain. Similarly, this is another one long polypeptide chain. They are folded like this. one part of it, they are parallel to each other, then other portions are moving away. So the complete two polypeptide chains are very, very long, so they are called long chains, otherwise called heavy chains. Why should we call them as a heavy chain? Molecular weight wise, if you take, the molecules are heavy, both the polypeptide chains are very, very heavy in the molecular weight, because lot of amino acids are present here. So we are calling them as heavy chain. Then two more chains are there. They are very, very short. Now see that here one short polypeptide chain is there. Here one short polypeptide chain is present. These two chains are short chains. In the appearance itself we can say they are short. They are also called light chains. They are also called light chains. Why they are called light? If you take one polypeptide chain of short one, and if you take the molecular weight is very, very low compared to this heavy chain. So that we are calling it is lighter. Weight wise it is very, very lighter. So that we are calling it as light chain. Okay. So the two polypeptide long chains are present here, heavy chains. And the short polypeptide chains are running parallel to the heavy chains in this region. They are running parallel to. So 4 polypeptide chains we have taken. Now the two heavy chains or long polypeptide chains are connected by some chemical bonds. Only 2 are given, but many will be there. Each bond is called a disulfide bond. So between the two heavy chains, disulfide bonds are present. Similarly, between the heavy chain and the light chain, bonds are present here also. They are binding them. They are not allowing them to move away. So each bond is called again disulfide bond. Whether they are heavy chains or light chains, the chains are connected with each other, binding with each other with the help of disulfide bond. Now we are coming to the functional region. If you take the heavy chains, 2 heavy chains are there, bottom of the heavy chains we have to take. There are certain special dots or spots will be present. The spots are acting on microorganism. But chemically all the spots which are present, for example here 3 spots are there, here also 3 spots are there, sometimes it may be 4 or 5. The spots are chemically identical to each other, similar to each other. So we are calling these spots as constant regions. They are constant. Not only for this immunoglobulin molecule, any type of immunoglobulin molecule you can take. Now everywhere the chemical composition of the spots at the bottom will be same. It is constant. It will never change. That is called a constant region. Now you come to the terminal region, upper region. Now we are taking heavy chain. In the heavy chain there are certain spots like that. Here also and here also. Similarly in the short chain also, light chain also, some spots will be there. Here also some spots will be present. But all these spots which are present in the heavy chain at the upper end and in the light chain in the upper end, they are chemically different. They are not similar. So they are called variable regions. Chemically they are variable. Chemically they are different. That is called variable regions. Now the variable regions are present to attack the microorganism. Okay, the microorganism may have different type of chemical composition. So the variable regions are finding the suitable region and then it is attacking the microorganism. So the specific microorganisms are attacked by variable regions. Some common microorganisms are attacked by constant region. Now this is the structure of a molecule of antibody or immunoglobulin. Now we are going to see the functions of antibody. Antibody is our body product, our own product. It is giving resistance. How it is working in our body, how it is doing the function, that is functions of antibody. Now we are going to study these functions as antigen-antibody interaction. Antibody is our body chemical. Antigen is foreign substance or foreign microorganism. So this is foreign. It is only causing disease. Our antibody is preventing that. How they are acting on each other, we have to see. That is called the interaction. So antigen-antibody interaction. Now we are going to see there are different methods. The antibody is preventing the microorganism from causing diseases. The first one is called neutralization. Now you have to know what is the meaning of neutralization. Now first I'll explain, then you can understand what is the meaning of neutralization. Now for the neutralization is a method followed for exotoxin, otherwise called a toxoid. What is the meaning of exotoxin? We have to say. Now I am taking this picture. This is the microorganism, one bacterial cell. It is a disease causing microorganism, disease causing bacterial cell. Now this bacterial cell is producing one poison, toxin. The toxin is released out. The toxin is released out. Now once the toxin is coming out of the bacterial cell, it is now called exotoxin. It is coming out of the body of the cell. And the toxin is causing problem in our body, not the bacterial cell. Directly bacterial cell is not attacking us. The poison produced by the bacterial cell is causing diseases in our body. So the antibody, these are all antibody molecules, the Y-shaped. Now these are all the antibody molecules. What the antibody molecules will do, they will come and cover the complete bacterial cell. Okay, they will come and cover, no gap. But actually the picture here, some gap is there. No, here also antibody molecules. Everywhere antibody molecules will cover the bacterial cell. Now the bacterial cell is producing toxin. Once the toxin is coming out, immediately the antibody is neutralizing the toxin. What is the meaning of neutralizing? It is making the toxin to become non-toxic. Okay, it is a neutral. It cannot cause any diseases by the antibodies. So that is called neutralization. Now the poison which is harmful is now become neutral. Now we are coming to the second way or the second function of the antibody, which is called agglutination. Now first we have to know what is the meaning of agglutination. In our body or other organisms and all, cells will be present in the body. Now the cells may be free from each other. Particularly microorganisms, cells, lot of cells, bacterial cells, lot of bacterial cells are there. They are free from each other. Whenever the bacterial cells are free from each other, they can actively move, actively causing disease. So, if they are present together, okay, they are sticking with each other, their harmful effect will be less. Now, agglutination means clumping of the cells. Clumping means sticking of the cells. That is called the agglutination. Now we will take how it is happening. Imagine that these are all the bacterial cells which are causing disease, bacteria. Now they are scattered, they are present free. They are ready to attack our body. They entered into our body, they are ready to attack. Now immediately what will happen? The antibodies are coming and touching these bacterial cells. Once the antibodies are coming and acting on, all the nearby bacterial cells are coming and clumping with each other or sticking with each other. Once they stick on with each other, physically they are sticking on, they cannot be active, they cannot move. They cannot move and they will be present as such immovable, so they cannot cause any disease. So they are becoming inactive. So this clumping of bacterial cells, sticking of bacterial cells is called agglutination of bacteria. This is the second way of preventing the disease. Third way, precipitation. Now we have to say what is the meaning of precipitation. Precipitation is for soluble antigen. Now we have to see soluble, dilute antigen. Antigen is foreign substance, I said, foreign molecules, some toxic substance, whatever it is, some foreign molecules which are not accepted by the body, they enter into that. Now these are all the foreign molecules. These are all the foreign molecules, soluble antigens. Now once the antigen molecules are scattered in the body, immediately the antibodies are coming and touching them. Antibodies are coming and touching them. Now what they do is, they are binding all the molecules with each other, as the result of which the molecules are becoming inactive. That is called a precipitation. Then we are coming to the last one, complement system. Now in our body cells, plasma membrane is there. Cytoplasm is also present. There are certain regions where the microorganisms or the chemicals produced, the toxin produced by the microorganisms cannot act on the body, cannot act on the cell. Such regions are there. Now for example, this is the plasma membrane. In the plasma membrane, everywhere microorganism can attack and penetrate and go into the cell. But what will happen? There are certain regions where the microorganism cannot act, cannot cause any disease. So what our antibodies will do, the antibodies, they are coming and touching, they are taking the molecules and pushing all the molecules into the place where the microorganism cannot cause any disease. So they are dumping here. So the microorganism cannot do anything. This is actually called a complement system. Now already we have studied about white blood cells. They are engulfing the microorganism. Now engulfing, this is not for antibody, this is phagocytosis, we would have studied about it. Now that is, this is a bacterial cell. Antibodies are present or not, antibodies unable to do. This is one white blood cell. Okay, it may be macrophages or it may be any other type of white blood cell. The white blood cell is extending because it can change the shape. It is extending the cytoplasm and arm, making or encircling this pathogen, and slowly it is taking into the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is producing digestive enzyme and digesting the bacterial cell. After that, no more bacterial cell. So it cannot cause any disease. Now this type of engulfing the microorganism and digesting the microorganism is called phagocytosis. Now we are coming to antibodies. Immunoglobulins, binding force of antigen antibody. Now actually the antigen antibody interaction we are telling. Now how fast the action will be there, the interaction will be there, that is depending upon certain factors. Now the factors are called binding force. So the binding force of antigen and antibody determine whether the microorganism is going to cause disease or it is going to be prevented. Now what are the three factors? There are totally three factors we are going to see. The first factor is closeness between antigen and immunoglobulin. Imagine that a molecule of antigen and a molecule of antibody, both are present very closer to each other, so the action will be very faster. Suppose antigen is afar off, antibodies are further away, but they cannot be attracted and the action will be slower. It will take place, but it will be very, very slower. So whenever the antigen molecule and the antibody molecules are closer, the binding force is very heavy, very faster, and the action will be very, very faster. Second factor will be intermolecular force. Now between the two molecules, attraction force will be there. Okay, attraction force, that is called the intermolecular force. That means between the two molecules, some non-covalent bonds like hydrogen bonds will be there. Okay, or electrostatic bonds will be present. If the hydrogen bonds or electrostatic bonds are present, then the molecules are pulled towards each other very faster. Okay, that is called the intermolecular force. The third factor is affinity of antibody towards the antigen. Now affinity means attraction. Okay, affinity means attraction, specific attraction. So affinity of antibody towards antigen. So that the antibody is very sensitive. The antigen is there as such, but the antigen is attracting, forcefully pulling the antibody to come and react with antigen. That is called affinity, specific or special attraction, affinity of antibody. So these are the three different type of forces which make the antigen and the antibody reaction either faster or slower. That's we have completed the three factors which are binding forces which are determining the antigen antibody reaction.